Tommy, thank you for being on the podcast. Thank you for making it out here on this extremely rainy, cold winter day in California.
This weird-ass Southern Californian day.
Yeah, I thought we had our 6 days of winter and it was over, but I guess we're having a little bit more.
yeah, it's so strange. It's actually kind of funny because the splash guard actually started falling off my axles, my front axle. When was it? Probably when we had that huge flood where it was like raining for 2-3 days straight, just water just coming down. And I finally had time today to actually reapply it, put it back on, and just got done right in time whenever the rain started.
Yeah. Are you originally from California?
No, sir. I'm actually originally from Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Okay, so you get extreme weather over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, people panic. Here, it sprinkles and people panic.
It's like the apocalypse is happening, you know? The sky is falling.
The sky's falling. Streets are flooded. The LA River's flooded. People are driving like shit. It's the silliest thing in the whole wide world.
Yeah, no, I mean, you think LA drivers are bad normally? Yeah, add the rain, it's even worse.
It's a lot worse. Where do you work at right now, and what do you do?
I currently work for Harley Davidson of Glendale. I am the motor clothes lead. So I actually specialize in helmets and riding gear.
Okay, and that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the podcast. Every time I pass by the dealership, you're so informative. You're so passionate. You're so you teach people. I mean, obviously you educate yourself, and then you teach people about what you've learned. And tell them and create value for the products. So I kind of wanted to get you in the podcast and pick your brain on what are your favorite products? What are you seeing? You know, what trends are you following that you're like, hey, this is going to be exciting. That's exciting. I know you guys started offering, what is it? Climb. Teaching people how to pronounce the company's names properly. Climb. I know Climb just got in there, 6 months ago, if that? Or how long now?
Yeah, about that. 6 to 8 months ago, we decided to bring it in around the time whenever Harley dropped the Pan America.
Yeah.
So we were trying to get some good adventure gear in there.
Is that how it came about?
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because our general manager is a huge fan of the brand. He loves adventure riding. So he wanted to bring it in, and, you know, it's been a big seller since. It's surely became one of my favorite brands. Yeah,
the Pan America changed a lot. It like Livewire did not have that success that Pan America's having.
You know, the Pan America, it came in. Harley definitely hit the ground running with that one.
Yeah,
I can't deny them that. I remember when we got it into the dealership, I actually got to test ride it immediately. I think I was one of the first associates there to actually test ride it. You know, I was blown away. It drove like I was just gliding through butter. It was smooth.
Really? Have you ever been on any adventure bikes or,
yeah, well,
off-road dirt bikes, etc.?
Yeah, I used to ride dirt bikes up in Hungry Valley. I actually used to go up there on the track and ride my Kawasaki. Yeah. So I do have some off-roading in my background. I love it. I haven't done it as much recently because, funny story. When I actually just bought my first Harley out here, my Kawasaki was actually stolen. And so I was like, well, damn it, I can't buy a dirt bike now.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. What Harley did you get?
I ended up buying a Iron 883 when I moved out here.
Nice. And that's what you still have?
No, right now I'm actually on a Dyna Superglide.
Dyna Superglide?
Yeah.
What was the transition? And we're going to get back into Climb and, you know, the brand. But what was your transition? How long did you have the 883 before you decided to change it? 4 or 5 months?
You know, I never even thought about it. I think I had it for about a year.
A year?
Yeah, it actually got totaled.
Okay.
So I went down, and that's actually part of what sparked me to become so passionate about the safety gear.
You're right.
Is after experiencing that, it's like, you know, I don't want other people to go through that. And
what happened in your accident?
I was actually going south in North Hollywood, and a gentleman had turned his left blinker on. So I said, you know, it's safe. I'm going to keep going. And he ended up turning right into me.
That's fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was honestly, it's not anything I would want anybody to experience.
What was your gear like at that time?
You know, I was the dumbass who was like, you know what? I'm just going like down the street. I'm just gonna wear my helmet, my leather vest, boots. I'm good.
Yeah.
And I mean, at least I had a good helmet on. I'll say that much.
Yeah. Did you get pretty fucked up or?
You know, I was, from what I was told, I was actually...
You blacked out?
I was unconscious for about 5 minutes from what I was told.
Wow.
Remember waking up and the cops were telling me, you know, just stay put, don't move, stay still. And, you know, they eventually got to the point where they were helping me get out of the street. They pulled me onto the sidewalk.
Wow. Did the guy stop?
No, he didn't.
And you had no information on that?
No. I mean, actually, I don't even know if I should be talking about this just because the case is still open.
Yeah. What accident? What are you talking about? That's a joke.
Haha,
we got you fuckers.
Yeah. And that just hit me. I was like, wait the case hasn't even closed yet.
Yeah. But you know, I don't know how accurate this is, but I think it's good enough to know. But they say if you can remember a car model and the last 3 numbers of the license plate, they can usually track it down.
You know, funny enough, I actually had a GoPro on my helmet. So they were actually able to go back and view all the footage. Luckily, there was actually a police car right behind me.
Wow.
Yeah, I got the jackpot. Yeah, the cops were right behind me and they were able to actually, they chased him down.
Excellent. So they did stop him.
Yes.
Oh, good.
They caught him.
Good. Oh, he didn't stop. They caught him.
He didn't stop. It was
what a piece of shit. What a piece of shit. You know, when I was at Van Nuys Harley and I was the finance manager over there, and one of our mechanics was going for a test ride. And when he went for the test ride, on the corner of Van Nuys Harley doesn't exist there anymore, but on the corner was a Home Depot. And there was a lot of the Mexican workers, you know, the Mexicans like, hey, amigo, trabajo, whatever. So my mechanic was taking a bike that he just finished repairing out, and when he gets onto Van Nuys, somebody hits him.
God damn.
They just turned into him. He was an older gentleman, and he was on blood thinner, so he was bleeding insanely amounts of blood. The car took off. The Mexican guys from the Home Depot, or Salvadorians, or whoever, I'm not, you know, the Hispanics, they ran into the Harley shop, and they're like, Roberto, come on, like, you know, you're mechanic. Anyways, I go out there and I see my mechanic on the floor bleeding out. I'm like, fuck, man, ambulance. I can hear the ambulance is coming. And this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey. I go, bro, back the fuck away from me and my mechanic. Like, get the fuck away. And he's like, no, hey. I go, bro, leave me the fuck alone. He goes, sir, I hit him. And I'm like, what? And everybody had told me that the driver took off. I go, you took off? He goes, I didn't, but I came back around. Like, I knew that was the right.
You know, and I've heard about that. Like, that's not uncommon. That's actually a thing where people, it just instinct. It's like, oh, shit, I got to go. But then, you know, 30 seconds later, they're like, fuck, no. Yeah, and they actually turn around.
They're fucking conscious and stuff. Yeah, so I thought that was honorable and pretty cool. And the cops were like, okay, you fucked up. Basically, his GPS was telling him to make a left onto the end of the block to then make another left to the end of the block because he missed the business he was going, and he was like, fuck it, I could just make a U-turn. So as the bike came out, he just fucking made an illegal, you know, U-turn.
God damn.
The mechanic, he was fine. He lost a lot of blood, but he came back months later.
Okay, good for him.
Yeah, so you have an open case.
Yeah, that always gets me now hearing people's stories at the shop about them going down. Yeah, it always touches me personally because of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have tons of stories. When you work at a shop, that's what happens. You see people walking in on wheelchairs, crutches. This is why anytime somebody gets on the podcast, or I'm sorry, anytime anybody talks to me about getting on bikes, I tell them, look, whatever you do, you want to get a bike, cool, enjoy it, but have ready $3,000 to $4,000 worth of money to buy gear. Mm-hmm. You have to. What is your favorite gear, your favorite features, and this new technology that's coming out?
I was going to say...
Because there's a lot of technology.
You know, I actually completely agree with you. Like, I always tell people, like, new riders, I was like, minimum, put about, $1,500 aside. Get yourself some good gear. because you can break an arm, you can break a leg, but if you break your head, I mean, that's game over.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of...
Well, not only to that, but one more thing I want to make, I make very clear to everybody is motorcycles are fun. I ride a lot, but a motorcycle, if you crash at 2 miles an hour,
yeah,
you're going to hurt your fucking ankle if you don't have the right shoes, right boots. You're going to hurt your wrist. You're going to, like, you can mess up a lot at 2 miles an hour.
No,
but
you can. I mean, especially, you know, the heavier bikes, the big Harleys. Yeah, you get hit wrong, you fall off. Yeah, you can definitely break an ankle.
Yeah, easy.
I was going to say, yeah, no, there's one thing that I'm super passionate about is actually going to be, you know, helmets. And that's because my experience. And, you know, there's a lot of questions. And one of the big ones is the safety ratings of them. And the primary ones that we do go by here in America are DOT, ECE, and SNELL. And now,
what are the difference? I mean, DOT, all Americans know, Department of Transportation.
Yes.
But what are the other abbreviations stand for?
ECE, I feel stupid, I forgot, but SNELL.
That's the European Department of Transportation, right?
ECE, yes, that is the European one, and it actually, I was going to say, it's one of the more bigger ones that people are looking at now instead of SNELL, surprisingly. Because the thing is with SNELL has always been looked at for your higher-end helmets. It's always been said that that's the best one because that's the one that they use on the racetracks.
Yeah, because they have a separate rating for high performance, but I believe those ratings are based on high performance racetrack. It's not this, like, there's Department of Transportation focuses on daily commutes and rides. And I believe SNELL is just race performance. I believe so.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I could be totally wrong.
SNELL goes back to, I believe it was 1957, where they were originally started being made for race cars.
Yeah.
But the problem with SNELL is now they actually haven't updated their safety rating since the 70s.
Oh, that's not good.
And yeah, that's the problem with that is that they, you know, their materials out now like carbon fiber helmets. Those are huge now. Everybody wants them because they're lightweight.
Super lightweight.
But back in the 70s, they didn't have carbon fiber. So their SNELL actually has, and it's a huge problem, that you can't have a helmet, I believe, below 3.5 pounds.
You can't have a helmet less than 3.5 pounds?
Yes, to get a SNELL approval. So
got it.
A lot of your bigger helmet makers,
because
like,
one of their qualifications is okay, got it.
Like Rye and Shoei, they've actually been building these helmets based around the SNELL approval system.
Right.
But I was going to say ECE, I actually put a little bit more trust in than SNELL because ECE, they have updated. They do have a 6-dimensional impact that they test, and they do allow helmets that are going to be below that 3.5 pound limit. So there are a lot of brands like Climb, for instance. They have this one helmet, the Climb Cryos Pro, that I absolutely love. It's extreme.
Is that the adventure looking one with the visor?
With the visor, the transitional shield.
I got to get that.
Great
As
helmet.
you could see, I don't need helmets. And this is why it's so hard. But
you got so many.
I know how cool that helmet is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great helmet. It's extremely lightweight, but
what's the weight on that one? Because it's a full adventure visor. Mm-hmm. Can you take it off and put the goggles? No, that one.
Yes, you actually can.
And it has the transitioning lens, right?
Yeah, the shield that comes with it, the Climb Cryos Pro, does naturally transition.
Just beautiful.
You can take them off and, you know, put the goggles on if you're riding in a place that's going to be warmer. You're going to be sweating more, allow more air to come through the helmet.
Yeah, it's got great ventilation.
Mm-hmm,
that one's like what, $749? What was the price on that one?
It's $700.
That's such a good price
plus tax. Too. And it's one of those things that, I mean, I always tell people, don't skimp on your lid.
Not at all.
No, don't ever, because, I mean, yeah, like I said, that's probably the most valuable thing on you.
Yeah.
As cheesy as that sounds, it's like, obviously, yeah, audience would understand that, hopefully. But there are surprisingly, you know, a
a
lot
lot
of
of
guys,
stupid people that just
they don't think about
They
that.
put the little, not even DOT approved fucking helmets. They
Oh,
put
yeah.
straight out plastics. There's a lot of states. I think Florida, if you have insurance, you don't need to wear a helmet. If you don't have insurance, you have to wear a helmet.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's fucking insane. And part of that is because of the humidity. It's just when it gets hot and the humidity gets so crazy, it's impossible to wear a helmet.
Sticky.
Well, forget the sticky. You feel like you can't breathe. You feel like you're drowning.
Yeah.
I've gone to Miami. I remember one time when you know, I don't know, 10 years ago, I went to Miami in the hottest months where it was very humid. And I'm talking about, and this happened to me in Dubai too, or not Dubai, Mumbai. It happened the same thing. The airport, you know, once you get off the plane, there's AC, the airport AC. The door opened and the humidity was so thick that I choked. I was like, I felt like I was drowning for 10 seconds. I'm like, what? And then you cough and your glasses get all foggy and then you're back to normal. You get used to it.
No, growing up in Houston, Texas, I totally feel that.
Yeah. So riding a helmet, I get it, but I don't know. I always, even when I go to states that you don't have to wear a helmet, I wear a helmet.
That's exactly how I am. It's I won't get on a bike unless I have a helmet. Because they.
And what's funny is people be like, "You fucking pussy! What a fucking pussy! What are you like? What are you, bro?" When I go to Mexico, when I drive to Mexico, as soon as we cross the border, all my friends take off their seatbelt. I can't take off my seatbelt, man. I'm so spoiled with that.
No, it's funny because I actually, when I'm getting people fitted in their gear, that's actually one of the things I always say to people is like, you know, whenever you have the jacket on with the armor and everything on it, you feel like you're wearing a seatbelt on the bike alone. And yeah, I agree with that 120%. I just feel better with the seatbelt on, and I always wear my helmet. No matter what, default, I don't feel comfortable, even if it's just around the neighborhood.
Do you guys... I just thought about this. Maybe you guys do this, but do you guys do like an orientation like once a month to all the new riders that buy bikes about safety gear?
I was going to say that's actually, I mean, that's just my default job is, just...
Like, do you get to talk to everybody that buys a bike? Does a salesperson say, hey, this is Frank. He just bought a 2020 Streetlight. It's a second or third bike. You know, he might need some things or he might not. Mm-hmm. Can you give him a breakdown of what's happening and give him that breakdown? Yeah,
that's definitely something we, like I was saying, we always do. Always, whenever riders come through, we give them a tour of the store. No matter if they've bought 3 bikes there or this is their first bike, you know, every customer is treated exactly the same, where we're holding everybody to the same standard and showing them that we care about them. We want them to come in, be part of our family there. And we show them all the new gear. Like you were saying, you always come in, I'm always showing you something new, like the airbag vest, the Climb AI and Emotion airbag vest.
AI Climb vest.
Yes.
AI, guys, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so
and it's got a subscription plan, and and it's hooked up online, and
so this this vest, it actually has a little computer system that you put that you attach to it. You actually connect your phone to it, and your phone is constantly growing and learning, so it knows the difference between a pothole and actually taking impact. And the cool thing about it is that when you do take impact, God forbid that happens to anyone, it actually uploads the algorithm directly to the cloud and actually shares it with all the other app users, so that actually their vests are learning from your impact as well.
You know, I don't want to sound like that tacky guy that says this kind of shit, but I started building an app that was doing something very similar. And once you go down, it notifies your top people on your text messages. Mm-hmm. It sends a notification. I possibly was in an accident, and it shows a GPS.
That's brilliant.
Direction. And then the guys that I was working with, they kind of just went to shit. And this was like 6 years ago. And the reason I thought about this is because I was driving from San Francisco, and I was going to Santa Cruz, and this fucking Nissan just passed me up at 1 billion miles an hour. Anyways, they passed me up. I don't see anything. I start driving. And as I'm driving, I see, because the PCH is just the fucking one. I saw red lights over the fucking hill. Like I'm driving by and I just saw red lights and I was like, this looks wrong. I stopped. I looked over. That fucking Nissan crashed. These dudes were wasted. Their whole car smelled like alcohol. And I found them and I was like, man, if this was like on a motorcycle or something like that, nobody would find them. So that's cool that they came up with that system.
Yeah, no, it's definitely handy. And I mean, like we were saying, Climb, they're putting out some of the highest quality materials, some of the best safety gear. They include D3o Armor with all of their riding jackets, which I love because
And their jackets are light too
compared
to the other adventure bikes.
They're so
the other adventure jackets, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean they're mainly doing stuff for cruisers and adventure, but I love that they actually put D3o Armor in there.
Yeah.
And
what's that rating? What's that mean?
D3o, it's the brand.
It sounds like a character from Star Wars and shit.
No, I love D3o because it's like a squishier material that they make their gear out of. But so you can actually move a little bit easier. It feels lightweight, it's breathable, but whenever you take impact, it hardens.
That's
and
cool.
Absorbs the shock for your body.
I've heard about it. I didn't know what it was called, but yeah, so BMW's been adding that. A lot of companies have been adding that.
Harley's adding it this year in their line as well.
But a lot of companies sell their jackets without the armor, and you got to buy the armor separate, right?
Marketing
they have the
at
pockets.
its finest.
Fucking guys, huh? That's like the most important part. Like, why else? Because I picked up a Roland Sands jacket once, or I still have it. I wear it all the fucking time, and I never picked up the armor for it. And it's not like I don't want the armor. I just never went and figured out which one. Like, it should have just came with it.
No, I agree 120%. I will say, working at Harley, we were talking about, some of the people that come through. I mean, a lot of people actually don't like the armor in the jackets.
On the Harley ones?
Yeah.
Why? Because they're just like the old school ones, or?
Yeah, no, I mean, you get some of the old school guys in there that they don't like armor, and then some people, we get some of the younger riders that they just don't want the armor in there.
Yeah.
I'm not.
No, it's because they're so cool, man. Like
they're cool.
Like when you're
I was gonna say I don't know if
cool,
it's because they.
No, when you're that cool, you can wear Converse and fucking
Vans.
Yeah, you can wear Vans and you don't need armor. Duh. Like, what are you talking about? That's silly, bro. I don't get. I feel great when I'm fucking wearing good gear. Like, I feel really good, and I feel like shit when I'm riding shitty. And you know what? There's been times I go with the t-shirt, to the gym. Or it's just a hot day, but like you got to minimize that as much as possible.
Yeah, no, you're so right on the people feeling cool. It's like they just want to wear, that thin little half shell on their head, their leather vest, and I always sit there and think to myself, I'm like, what's not cool? Eating out of a straw.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen, and you see people get in accidents because of the dealer, right?
Yeah, we have people come through all the time after they've been in accidents.
This is a statement I've said, bro, I think I've said this on every episode just about, but I strongly believe 95% of motorcycle accidents is rider error. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
That's actually very, very hard for me to say because I haven't thought about that statistically. I mean, I guess it probably also depends on where you live. Like, I'm going to say being out here in LA, I've experienced probably some of the worst drivers I've ever experienced in my life.
There's that too.
But then also when I went to university in Oklahoma, it wasn't near as bad as it is here.
So would you say, we're making this up, obviously.
Okay.
But would you say what, 50-50, 70-30? Like,
yeah, I'm going to stick with 50-50 just because
wow.
I'm thinking into it and it's so circumstantial.
Yeah.
And it depends. I mean, there's so many little details that go into it, like the rider, what kind of bike they're on obviously would influence the rider, if they're driving fast and recklessly or they're just cruising down on their road glide.
Yeah, I had I'll tell you why my why I say so high, but I had Detective Quinn Rediker. He's one of the top motorcycle stunt police officers. Now he's SWAT and detective, and he's a badass individual. I had him on the podcast, and he brought up an excellent point. He was like, one problem is people don't know how to use the equipment they have You know, like like if you don't have ABS, they don't know about pump and brakes, or they don't know how to turn certain angles, or they don't check their tires and PSI pressures. You know, there's that. But that to me falls under rider error. You know what I mean? Look, the reason I think it's 95% is because every accident that I've ever heard of, like for example, the two biggest accidents in the U.S. that I think I reported, well, last time I checked was the intersection. Okay, and what's the intersection? Guys driving through the intersection, somebody makes a left turn, gets hit, done, right? Not the bike's fault, always the car's fault. Every time I've witnessed or seen or had somebody come into my dealership because of that accident, witnesses always said the same thing. That motorcycle was going 60 miles an hour on Van Nuys Boulevard, and the car making a left had no fucking idea. The second biggest accident is turns. People taking turns too hard, or not getting enough road, or on the wrong side of the road when they're making the turn, and they go off the cliff or hit into another car or something like that. So here's what I tell people: ride aggressive, ride really aggressive, but don't go over your limit. Don't go over the limit of the motorcycle. Don't go over your limit of your expertise. And obviously this is people who care for their life and want to ride long term. So.
Yeah, no, that actually makes complete sense now that you're saying it's just, improper technique or just lack of experience.
Or checking their brakes, or doing services, or getting tire repairs, or, being familiar, adjusting your suspension. I bought an Fxrg XT. Actually, Glendale built this Fxrg XT for an attorney down in Beverly Hills, and I bought that bike in 2009. When I rode, it was the most awkward and this thing had like $15,000-$20,000 worth of parts. It rode so fucking shitty. I hated it. I go, this is so bad. And what happened is that the old Fxrg XTs, they had showy shocks, and they had individual adjustments, and one was like tight and one was like loose, and the whole bike was uneven. Well, I went to the mechanic, our shop. They adjusted it. One of the best riding bikes I've ever owned.
Okay.
Especially back then, So, but people don't do those adjustments or get familiar with their bikes. So that's why I'm happy you guys do orientations on safety, but there should be also little things about how to maintain or what to look for on a motorcycle.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a great idea. I mean, I do love touching base with all the new customers that come in, and I always like to ask them, what kind of gear do you have, if they already have it or if they don't, just to see what they're having, because we have so many guys that come in there that they have expired gear. A lot of people don't know that helmets expire. Yeah. And, that's a huge thing. I mean,
how do you check that?
So usually they say within 3 to 5 years, a helmet will expire. My rule of thumb is actually, $100 per year. You get what you invest in. You spend $100 on a helmet.
That's a good way to put it.
You spend $700, 7 years. Because, you spend all that money on a showy and a rye. You're not going to want it to just expire in a year. Right. A lot of people don't know either that, a helmet should be replaced once you go down or once it drops.
Why? I know the answer to this, but why is it so important that if a helmet drops, it should be replaced?
So the EPS liner that's in there, the polystyrene liner, actually, whenever it takes a hit in its spot, it actually compresses right there and absorbs that impact. Yeah. So once it's compressed in that spot, it's not going to absorb the impact anymore in that spot.
Got it. And what's this this MIPS? Every helmet has MIPS now. Like MIPS.
Yeah, MIPS.
Is it just a cool little yellow sticker that says MIPS, or is MIPS something?
Well, it is a cool yellow sticker, but it definitely is handy. So the MIPS is an extra liner that's going inside the helmet, and it actually rotates the impact. Yeah. So that way
on your head.
Yeah, it's not all in one spot on your, like say you get hit on your, around your frontal lobe. It'll spin the impact so that way
deflect the impact to the rest of your head.
It spreads it out more, so that way it's not just taking one direct spot. Yeah. All in that one area.
So smart. Yeah, I saw their whole video of why they do it. It's so fucking smart. And it's so simple. You would think this doesn't do nothing, but it saves lives and brain damage and
No, and another cool one that's coming out. This is what Climb actually put in their helmets. It's called Corroid technology. So it's, if you look inside a helmet that has corroid, it looks like there's this green honeycomb that is lining the inside of the helmet. But the purpose of that is so whenever you take impact, all those straws in there and the honeycomb will actually compress to decompress the shock to your head.
Wow.
And that's actually aerospace technology. That's something that airplanes, they actually put inside the seats of the airplane. So that way, if the plane goes down, it absorbs the shock away from the patron sitting in the chair.
That's fucking insane. That's beautiful. That's out now?
Yeah. It's in the Climb Cryos Pros. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Alpine Star has a helmet coming out this year that actually includes that technology as well.
That's amazing. What do you do with an old helmet?
Throw it away.
Or,
I mean...
Decoration.
Yeah. It's a trophy. You've earned your mark. You've rode for X amount of years with that helmet. You have experiences. You may just want to hold it on for the memories.
Blow it up on YouTube. Yeah. Something. Crash test. But that's probably the best bet. Just throw it away.
Yeah, no, we have people come through all the time, and we throw away their old helmets for them. They'll buy a new helmet and be like, yeah, we'll take it. We'll throw it in the trash for them.
So there's no recycling or anything like that?
Not that I'm aware
business. I'm telling you. We could do something there. Yeah. No, you can't read. Is there a safe way of buying a used helmet? I go to the dealership. It's $600. Money's tight. I say, you know what? I don't want to do it. Go on Craigslist. Some guy says, new in box. Is there a safe way to inspect or something to look for, a sticker, anything?
I mean, a used helmet, I see them up for sale all the time on, like, say, Facebook Market or Craigslist. I never recommend getting a used helmet. Ever. Even if they say it's been sitting in the box, we never use it. We just bought it and never use it. I never recommend it just because you don't know firsthand what that helmet's been through.
Even if they have the receipt and...
I mean, even if they have the receipt, you don't know. They could say they...
Even if they have a picture in the back of the warehouse they broke into and stole it. Look, I stole it, brand new, never touched. Still not worth it.
I'm
kidding about that, by the way. Watch that happen tonight. Like, what? This guy fucking premeditated.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What are you... But yeah, so in no situation you would recommend a used helmet.
No, I never recommend it.
Would you say, and I'm not trying to convince anybody, I'm just having a casual conversation. Would you say, this is so dumb, but fuck it, a used helmet's better than no helmet?
That's a damn good question. And, my answer still is just go buy a fucking new helmet.
Get a new helmet. Would you go far enough to say that if you can't afford a helmet, don't ride a bike?
I'd say there are many, many options. Between different helmets. And yes, obviously wearing a cheaper end helmet is better than no helmet.
Yeah.
Obviously when you get into your higher end helmets, there's going to be better materials made out of. Usually when you get to helmets below about 300, they'll be made out of like a thermoplastic or a polycarbonate, which is an extremely dense form of plastic. It's better than nothing. It's going to protect you, but it's not going to hold up quite as well as your higher end helmets.
Right.
But
but they still get protection.
Everybody should have a chance of going out and riding. Whether you can spend $700 on a helmet or not.
All bullshit aside, I'm asking these questions just because I want to pick your brain. But all bullshit aside, you can buy a decent helmet for $100, $150. You don't have to get into that $700 category.
No, you don't. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't
buy used helmets.
Just don't buy used helmets.
Don't buy used helmets.
No, never. I don't ever advise that. But yeah, always, just try to get something that's new. Whether it's, $100 G-Max or, you're getting a 350 HJC or you're going all the way up to like Schubert for $700-800.
Yeah. What about gloves and boots and shoes and...
Always recommend a pair of leather shoes. I love it now too because they actually have riding sneakers. So you get that comfort of a sneaker, but the protection of a boot. I actually, when I went down, I was wearing riding sneakers as well. And I love them. I mean, but they're full leather, just like, a leather boot. And it's going to hold up because, I mean, if you're wearing Converse, Vans, the road burn is...
Yeah. I know a guy that lost his foot, and this was years ago, because he was doing the flip-flops. And
the super safety flip-flops?
Yeah, the super safety flip-flop. You've heard of those, right?
Yeah.
And he got hit. He got squished by 2 cars, and a fucking bumper just got his whole ankle. And I'm pretty sure he would have been a lot better if he was wearing some fucking boots.
For those who can't see me, I'm cringing right now.
Very, very bad. Very bad.
Yeah, that's awful. And I always advise leather boots. I mean, when it comes to gloves, one thing that, I mean, obviously leather's gonna be the best, but they do have mesh gloves, textile gloves that are going to hold up. But I always advise having a leather palm specifically.
A leather palm?
A leather palm on the glove, just because. First thing most people do when they get hit is they're gonna reach their arm out there and try and catch themselves. You don't want to get road rash on the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you don't want road rash anywhere, but, especially, if you're injured, you want to be able to at least grab things. You don't want skin missing from that hand.
I don't know where I got this piece of information because I just been doing this for so long, but that's another thing that when people get into accidents, there's like better ways to crash.
Yes.
Like keeping your limbs to yourself, fucking keeping your head down. There's, and I'm sure there's even more, I don't know, crossing your legs, not crossing your legs, but I that's one of the ones that I heard that if you get into an accident, you want to just hold on tight, tuck your head down, make sure you don't fucking lose. Because some people get into fucking accident and they're like spreading out like this and you're spinning and breaking and dislocating your shoulder.
Trying to catch themselves.
Catch it and stop.
Because you have one opposing force going one way, and then you're trying to fight the force and go the other way. So
right.
That's when things snap. One thing that I learned, definitely from when I would ride off-road, go on the tracks, is, you're going down, just go limp.
Yeah.
And that's the best.
And it's hard. I mean,
you're having to fight your whole instinct.
We're talking about it, but yeah, when the moment comes, but I definitely just
go with the fall. And I mean, it's one of those things that I picked up on too, hearing about how, God forbid, I hate talking about this, but drunk drivers. Whenever you hear about them getting into accidents, blah, blah, blah. I cannot fucking talk today.
It's all good. It's all good. It happens to us.
The person that they hit usually is the one who gets more injured, but the drunk driver is so relaxed that, they're not fighting anything. They just end up, going with the motion of the crash.
Yeah.
And they usually get out with a few bruises.
Yeah.
Or they don't drink and drive.
Or they black out and their body just goes fucking numb.
Exactly. They're limp and they just go with the motion of the crash. And I mean, that's something I picked up on too. It's like, well, if you go down, obviously that's the best thing to do is just go with the fall. Don't try and fight it. Like you were saying, you tuck to yourself and you just roll with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Boots, pants, jeans. Do you recommend certain pants or just at least wear pants?
I mean, obviously denim will hold up better at your lower speeds, but it's not going to hold up to the road rash at, you're going 80 down the freeway. They do make actually abrasion resistant denim. There are some motorcycle clothing brands that actually put Kevlar inside the lining of the jeans. I mean, Harley briefly, I don't know if there still are or not. I didn't see them in the new catalog, but they made what was called Armaleth Denim, which they boasted actually held up similar to leather if you went down. So it's actually going to protect you. They do make jeans that have knee pads and hip pads in them.
Yeah. I picked up a pair of jeans, not for riding at all. It was just a cool style, and it was this 14-ounce Japanese denim, which I was like, fuck. And it was
14 ounces.
14 ounces, fucking Japanese denim. And I was like, this is fucking cool. And I ordered it, and it was on sale. And when I got it, I was like, holy shit, this is a good ride. And I went riding with them. It's my riding pants now. It's my riding pants. I feel like it'll do better. It's fucking thick. So if you want something stylish, 14-ounce Japanese denim is amazing.
You know, I had a burger that weighed that much. It was pretty tasty.
14 ounces? Fuck. Yeah, no. I can't remember if I've ever been on a bike in shorts. Like, even down the street. The only thing that kind of makes me want to do that a little bit is the live wire. The live wire, since there's no clutch and since it doesn't heat up and there's no exhaust and there's no pipe, I'm like, I can kind of get away with it. It's the only one that kind of gives me the urge, but I will not, on my Streakland and my BMW, it will not even cross my mind. I'm not capable of shorts. And if I was to do shorts, and if I was to do shorts, I'd do like some big ass fucking cowboy boots or some shit. You know, which would be a bad look, you know, shorts and cowboy look. But,
you know, it's one of those urges I've had to fight too.
Like, what the fuck are you saying?
Know, I wake up like 5:30 in the morning. I'll go to the gym, and I've literally had that thought go through my mind. It's like, oh, you know, it's 5:30 in the morning. No one's on the road. I'm just gonna ride down the street. It's LA Fitness right down over there. It's no problem. But I never could get myself to. I always pack my spare clothes, and I always wear my actual protective gear when I'm on the bike.
You wear a backpack or you have bags, saddlebags?
I have a backpack. I actually have a hard shell OGO backpack.
OGO is a badass too.
Yeah.
I like their clothing and I love their bags.
Yeah, I have the Mach 5 no drag bag, so it actually has a hard shell, which actually gives you some protection as well.
Which helmet are you rocking? I gotta ask.
I have an HJC Rafa 11 Pro. I've ridden with HJC for years. I was wearing an HJC when I went down a couple years ago. I wore HJC when I would ride off-road.
Yeah.
And it always protected me. It always held up. I know they have a reputation with some of the older guys that they're a shitty brand because
back in the day
they were.
They were really fucking... They were bulky, cheap materials. You would put them on. I had them. You'd put them on, and they had that chemical smell.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, what the fuck is this? This is disgusting. And they were a shitty brand. I'm talking 10 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. They were. But now I've heard excellent things. I haven't tried on their helmet. Actually, I think I won a helmet from you guys that might be one. But it's an XL, so I was like, "This, I don't."
I'd have to see it. I'd have to see which one. I'm not sure.
Which is considered a used helmet because I won it, which will be on Craigslist tomorrow. No, I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, but they actually just released a helmet that's actually catching my eye severely. It's called the. They actually just changed the name for it, but whenever it was like being pre-advertised, it was called the Rafa 01. And
the Rafa?
The Rafa, RPHA. It's what they call their higher end helmets. It's like, you know, kind of like how Chevy has Cadillac.
Right.
So it's like GMC. A branch off of GMC. Right. So yeah, HJC has the Rafas, and it's their higher end helmets. And this Rafa 01, as it was formerly known, is actually like their actual racetrack level helmet. Yeah. And fun fact about it, it actually passes what's called FIM standards. And FIM standards is what's actually coming up. It's actually a really good safety grading system because they're actually outdoing Snell and ECE, and only a handful of racetracks required to be used right now.
So Snell's like the bottom of the line currently, not because of anything other that they haven't updated their system.
I mean, their safety rating systems are they're still going to be good, but they're outdated.
Right.
And that's why I was saying earlier, you know, like ECE, that's what I look for my minimum standards with helmets.
Yeah. What else? What else do we have? Safety courses. What safety courses do you guys recommend? Does Harley Davidson or Glendale have a safety course they would recommend? Don't they do one?
Yeah, we're actually hosting it right now through our sister store, Santa Clarita.
And then so you guys are doing classes there?
Yeah. They're hosting the classes there.
What are those, 2-day classes?
3 days. Well, they do have a 2-day crash course, though. lack of a better term. So yeah, it's a 3-day course. I mean, the first day is just gonna all be textbook. It's gonna be over Zoom, and then the next day, Saturday, you're gonna be spending half the day on the course training, and then the other half is gonna be textbook over Zoom again. And then the next day, you're actually going to be doing all your testing.
All the testing and then all the physical. Do you guys provide the bikes, or you got to get your own bike?
They do provide the bikes, and it's a lot of fun. I took the course years back. You're just out there on the Ranger, you're riding around, you're learning actual proper technique, which is something you had mentioned as well earlier.
Yeah. About
having, that proper technique, braking at the right velocity, knowing how much to speed up, how much to do everything that you need to do. You got,
again, ride aggressive, but don't go over your limit. And to know not what that means is you need to know everything you're saying.
Yeah, it's always about keeping an open mind, knowing that you can always learn. You've been riding for 5 years, but there may have been techniques that you didn't learn.
I know people who've been riding for 20 years take those safety courses, and they're like, fuck, I never knew.
Yeah.
I never knew.
Yeah,
the other problem is people say they ride 5 years, but let's cut the bullshit. 1,000 miles a year in 5 years, 5,000 miles is not riding.
No, no. That at that point, yeah, it's just like it's just an occasional thing.
Nobody does that. Everybody does that.
Everybody.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, and so it's always good. And like you said, I've met people who came into the store and they were like, yeah, I didn't know that. I took the course, or they've been riding for 20 plus years and they're like, you know what, I should do it. They just know at the bottom of their heart that they should learn these proper techniques.
Or the other issue that you kind of touched on is you have the old school people that don't want to upgrade. Like when ABS came out in 2008, I believe, all the old school people were like, fuck that. Like, I know how to pump my brakes. I know how to, maneuver my back end and, do this. ABS sucks. It's unreliable. I'm like, what are you saying? Like, ABS is amazing.
It's fucking amazing.
It's super amazing. I didn't realize how cool ABS was until every car I had ABS. Mm-hmm. And then a friend of mine, he had a 1967 El Camino. Mm-hmm. And I was driving the El Camino, and on the 134, like no traffic, and all of a sudden traffic, and I pushed the brakes. I was fishtailing everywhere on that freeway. I didn't crash, but I'm surprised I didn't crash. And I was like, this is what ABS prevents, is, locking up tires and losing your front end or your back end. And then you get into a motorcycle. If you were to lock up your front end or your back end, you're done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's the other thing. People don't get used to the technology or the traction control or the ABS or these features. But you know what? I want to blame the dealerships, because they don't educate people enough on these new features. I bought my Street Glide. My Street Glide's in 2020, and there was an option that was like $700, and I was like, "What's this option?" They're like, "Oh, it's like some kind of brake assist, and that's it." And I was like, "Oh, I don't want that shit."
ABS is awesome.
No, but this was a different system. This was like a brake assist and a traction something, and I was like, "I don't want it. I don't want it." I get my BMW a month later, and I was like, what's this, $700-800? And they're like, oh, it's this. And I was like, you know what? I don't want it. They're like, no, it's hill stop. And I go, it's hill stop. If you're on a hill, you squeeze your brakes, let go, and the bike maintains there until you, I was like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And what's this? Oh, this is the traction control. I look at my paperwork for the Street Glide. That was the same option. I would have got it if I knew it was that, but it wasn't explained to me that it was that. So I do believe, dealerships should have, and you guys do it, and you do it, and this is why you're here, because every time I go visit you, it's like, Robert, look at this, and I'm like, Tommy, I'm good. No, you got to check it out.
Spend more money.
Yeah, I say I don't need to spend, but you break it down. I'm like, okay, I get it, and I understand it. So I think it's very important. And you know what? I can't just blame the dealerships. It's your responsibility as the viewers or the riders to also get your fucking education and look for it and ask questions and find out, what's the best technique or what's the best bike for riding in Los Angeles or in the mountains, etc.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's definitely true. Always keep an open mind, and that's something that I believe genuinely about everything in life. Honestly, it's kind of like what you were saying. It's how you were talking about, instead of ride boundless, it's live boundless. You know,
Right.
don't limit yourself to what you can. I mean, yeah, the Evo engine back in the day, that was a great engine by Harley. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's better than the new Milwaukee 8.
Right.
Because I mean, and then Harley just came out with the new Revolution Max engine that's actually on the Pan America and the new Sportster S, which
Right.
I'm dying to try out. I want to ride that Sportster S so badly.
So they're bringing out the Sportster S, which I saw is amazing, but I think it's the first sports I've ever seen that I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then there's a new, what is it, Fat Boy or a new Fat Bob that's coming out?
I'm not sure about the Fat Bob. I mean, I've heard rumors.
I heard a rumor. I'm talking about rumor.
Yeah, I've heard rumors about a touring lowrider S. I've heard a rumor about a performance road glide. So I mean, I can't confirm any of these rumors. I wish I knew the actual answer, because it's killing me. I'm dying inside.
Did they release the new CVOs? Not yet.
No, not yet.
Because I think that's the way I want to go next.
And you totally should. I mean, they got the 117 engine.
They got it. It makes so much sense, and I think it's like a $7,000 price difference, and you're gonna spend that, upgrading a non CVO, and not have ever the value of a CVO.
I mean, plus the value on them just holds up.
Oh, for sure.
Because they are limited in numbers.
Yeah, and it's pain. No, it's done.
Yeah,
it's done.
It's all customized for.
No, this is my last street glide that I bought, and I'm $10,000 in it, and it doesn't even look like I put $10,000 in it. On accessories. So you start looking like, it costs this much, tax and license, shipping, setup fee, freight, alarm, Vivid Black, these fees. And then it's like, I got to do the pipes, I got to do the suspension, the front, the back, the bars, interfering, change this, change that, change the crash bars or engine guards, whatever you want to call it. Like it adds up. I think it's a no-brainer to go CVO. I think I'm going to go CVO. I just can't. I'm
think
waiting.
You've already decided.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
I don't know why you're asking me to
Even though, have you seen the BMW R18 with the fairing?
I have not seen one in person. No.
Yeah, I just took one of those out for a spin. The look of it, it's pretty sexy. It looks like a street glide. It doesn't feel like a street glide. The bars are awkwardly fucked up, but so is the street glide. Like, that's the first thing. First thing I tell people to change on the street glide is suspension, bars, then your pipe, minimum. In that order. But I think that BMW, the only thing you need to do is just change, those bars. But they copied the street glide. They're doing advertising and marketing like a Harley Davidson, so that does kind of bother me. It's like, why would you want to look so much like Harley Davidson? Don't copy them. Be unique.
They're trying to pull in a crowd.
Yeah, they're trying to pull in a crowd. They did that whole desert ride, on the beam. Everybody's wearing chaps and leathers, and it's like, dude, don't stop. Like, I did not like that. That did bother me, but it's a good looking bike. I think I think they need to make 2 or 3 before it's exact. I felt certain vibrating, where there shouldn't be vibrating. Like my feet were getting numb because the pegs were vibrating. I was like, this is not good. And I only went on a 15-minute ride, but it looks sexy.
I'll say it's a new territory for BMW, producing a actual Harley style cruiser.
Yeah, they added I don't know what it's called, but tracking cruise control, tracking adjustment cruise control. So you put on your cruise control. If the car in front of you starts braking.
Now that you're explaining that, yeah, I did hear about that as well. So it actually knows how much of a distance to keep.
And you can adjust it. You can adjust it 10 to 20 feet. I think maxes out like at 40 feet or something like that. And it will automatically, So if you're on your phone while riding, it gives you a heads up.
But they're not Harley.
No, they're Harley, and that's right. No, it's a clean design. What about my favorite gear from Harley Davidson, which I just picked up a jacket from you, I think last year, but the Fxrg. Fxrg, right?
Fxrg, yeah.
Yeah, their helmets, because they were doing a carbon fiber helmet. I had a carbon fiber helmet Fxrg years ago. So they're still keeping up. Can you explain the difference between Harley gear and Fxrg?
Fxrg is like
they do the gloves, the helmets, they do the whole setup.
It's considered like it's marketed especially towards the people who are very what's the words I'm looking for? Like they love features. They love that it'll have like the Fxrg jacket. You know, a lot of them will be dual purpose. You can open them up or unzip them on the sides or something like that, and they'll allow air to flow through. But then you can close it up. You know, wear the Fxrg base layer, and you're good for winter. Yeah. So they're made for people who love the features. And Harley did come out with an Fxrg helmet that was actually paired with a rye a couple years back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That must have been nice.
It was a really nice helmet. It was really comfortable. Which is surprising to me too, because a rye likes to keep to themselves. They love to. They have so much pride in their brand. I mean, they've been around. I think, God, what is it? Since the late 40s, I think, is when they started, or the early 50s.
Yeah.
So they've been around forever. They're a very conservative company. So the fact that they paired with Harley a couple years ago, to me, it was amazing.
And I think that's what's been the new updates now with the CEO. The CEO is for Harley Davidson. He's, I want to say, German. It's weird because I think I read that the new CEO...
He's Scandinavian for sure.
Scandinavian or something like that. And then the new CEO for BMW, I think it's like American. Or I don't know. It's something. I don't know. I'm just saying shit.
You know, you're asking me questions that, you know, I feel like I should be more versed on. I should know more about.
No, I told you to fucking study for this. I'm not kidding.
I heard that his background is actually in Puma. He comes from Puma.
Where's the fuck's Puma? And I've traveled.
The shoe brand?
Yeah. Oh, it comes from Puma, the shoe.
Yeah, the shoe brand. That's what I heard.
On the nose.
I'm not giving a confirmed yes or no. That's what I've heard. I know he's very involved with the dealerships. He's actually working towards some different stuff that Harley had never really done before. Like I'll say, like working in their merchandise section. The motor clothes are definitely starting to look more fashionable. They're starting to keep track of what's actually in style rather than saying, oh, if we just throw a bar and shield on it, people will buy it.
Yeah, I hated that. That's one of my that's my turn off. Nobody else's. The Harley Davidson down the sleeve, the bar and shield, the HD, that branding. And it's funny because for a few years they had a whole kit of nice clothes with minimal, like just a bar and shield on the buttons. Very nice. I actually have a jean jacket where it's like nothing Harley except for the buttons. Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff now that's very subtle Harley. I mean, we're always going to have stuff that's going to have like the big bar and shield on it.
No, people love it.
There are still people who will love that. That's a default standard Christmas present.
Yeah, the bar and shield people put on their truck and they've never been on a bike their whole life. Go ahead because I just want to turn off the phone. I messed up.
Oh, you're good. Technology gets the best of us these days. But yeah, there's so much now. I mean, obviously, like I said, the barn shield will always sell, but there are a lot of things that people come in and they love that it's so minimal Harley Davidson, but they're still wearing Harley Davidson, so they still love it because obviously no brand is going to sell as well as Harley Davidson, and maybe that's... Some people could say it's biased, but I've heard that Harley takes up 50% of the market.
Right.
And I watched these training videos. Was it Sam's Wheelhouse? And he talks about on there, and it's so true. He says, does Harley make the best bikes? No. Do they make the fastest bikes? No. But why do they sell? Because of the passion. people that barn shield comes with so much emotion behind it. It screams American freedom, and people all over the world love that. We have people come in from all over Europe, all over the East Asian countries,
the world,
all over the world, and they want Harley Davidson, and it's so much cheaper to buy Harley in America than it is in other countries. So, like I remember I had a guy come in, and he literally pulled. He was from the Philippines, and he pulled like 3 stacks of T-shirts, and was just like, "I will buy all of these."
Yeah.
We have people coming in for the Harley leather jackets. And like I said, because it's just so much cheaper to buy Harley in America.
And it's, you know what's crazy about that?
What's up?
That fucking, you got Filipino people buying shirts or Chinese people buying shirts. Love them all. But the shirts are made in Philippines and made in China. You're like, wait a minute. Like, how the fuck does this, like, I don't know. Because I've witnessed that so many times. I'm like, you're Filipino? And I'm like, looking at the shirt, and I'm like, made in the Philippines. Like,
but you're buying it in America.
Right.
And we get, oh my God, that's probably one of the biggest complaints we get is people coming in and complaining to us that the Harley shirts aren't made in America. Or the jacket isn't made in America. I'm like, bro, I just sell this stuff.
Yeah.
And
nothing is. But nothing is. Like what people don't understand is companies, you know, just an example. Mm-hmm. Companies like Nike. Nike doesn't make shirts or shorts or shoes. They don't make any of that. Nike is an advertisement marketing company. They get a designer, they'll design one shirt. They'll design certain shorts. They'll design certain, shoes. They don't own their own manufacturing. They outsource everything. Mm-hmm. So they're making it. Hey, make it like this. And what Nike does is they're an advertisement agency. They make commercials. They make inspiration. They make the brand pop. And what you're buying is into the brand. But nothing's being made here. Period.
Yeah.
No. Which is normal too, because what people need to understand, trust me, I'm all about made in America, like half my or more than half my shit, my brand, right? But right clean, made in America, podcast recorded in America, everything. This is liquid, bottled, everything in America. I'm for it, but the thing is that people need to understand is this is a world economy. We all work together. If America does shitty, the world does shitty. Mm-hmm. And if America does great, the world does great. That's just very simple. It's nothing else. So it's normal. I just think it's funny that you see a Filipino buying a shirt made in the Filipino in America.
Yeah, it's one of those things now living, in I guess what you would call a post-industrial society where everything's about commercialism and consumerism, where unfortunately, we have to look at it and say, it's not necessarily us that's selling the Harley gear. It's our fault that isn't made in America. It's like you were saying, a lot of the. Excuse me. You're all good. It's the fact that, that the amount of money spent making the stuff would completely change if it was made in America.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it's
not just the cost of labor, but it's like insurance and PTO and the rents and the taxes. Like a shirt, $40 or $50 Harley Davidson T-shirt would now cost you $140, $160. And the other problem is people don't want to pay that. No. People complain now. I bet you that the shirts are expensive.
They do. They do. But obviously it's also one of those things. It's like like I was saying, the barn shield, it comes with a passion behind it.
Right.
You don't go into Gucci or Louis Vuitton and expect to buy something for $10 there.
Right.
And that's how Harley is. Harley's in demand. And
this is just food for thought. With the high-end brands, I kind of got annoyed with them because I like them. I don't mind wearing some nice shoes or name brand this or blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what it is. But the reason I got annoyed is it's not that fucking exclusive. Like, you got a Louis Vuitton store everywhere. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter where you go in the world. There's a Louis, like I told you, in Mumbai on where the the slum neighborhoods, like a block away, 2 blocks away, there's a mall and there's a Louis Vuitton store. In Paris and France and LA, there's a bunch of them. So it's not that exclusive.
No.
My point is, Harley Davidson clothing is more exclusive than a Louis Vuitton bag. Think about that. Because how many Harley Davidson stores do you have in the United States? Isn't it like less than 700? I want to say 740 or something. Last I heard, maybe there's a little
I'd
bit
say
more.
that sounds about right.
Yeah, so there's only 740, Harley Davidson dealers in the U.S. I guarantee you, there's a lot more, Dior's or other stores, or they're probably in between that. I wish I had a Jamie. Jamie, look that up. Look that up. See how many things. But anyways, Harley Davidson's more exclusive than Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, it goes back to that passion,
and this is not a paid sponsorship by anybody. This is my own. Actually, it's a paid sponsorship by Ride Clean. Check them out at rideclean.co.
Rideclean.co. It's about how it makes people feel. I mean, because Harley Davidson, obviously, it goes back over 100 years now, but especially a lot of times it's associated, with the harder, grungier crowd. Everybody wants to feel like they're in the Sons of Anarchy or something like that. And so
I was just at a casino this weekend, and there was this old dude, drinking beer and fucking wearing a Sons of Anarchy sweater, hoodie, with the, like looking like the patch and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is so funny. Like, you don't ride. And he thinks he's so, anyways.
But it makes them feel confident. It gives them the confidence.
Oh, for sure.
And I mean, that's marketing at its best. And I mean, it goes back to like we were saying about Dior or Louis Vuitton, the way people feel having that brand on them. They feel as if people are looking at them. Yeah. Or giving them the attention that they want. Yeah.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I got a buddy of mine. He loves Dior. And he'll just sit there and talk about a fucking T-shirt, for an hour. Oh, man, Italy and blah, 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 blah.
I mean, hey, I'm guilty. I wear Dior cologne.
Yeah. Yeah. But Harley Davidson does represent that, I have my first Harley Davidson T-shirt, which is like over 20-something years old, on a dealership that doesn't even exist anymore. I have my Mexico Harley Davidson T-shirt, my Mumbai. I do buy just.
Yeah, you've been all over the world.
Just to have it.
Crap ton of T-shirts.
Yeah, I don't have as many as I should, but I have gone into places. I'm like, you know what, this is probably the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. So I do support that.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the cool thing too. Is it's like the Hard Rock Cafe. Everybody loves to come in. They love to get that shirt that says that they've been to Hollywood, Glendale, or Miami, or Orlando, wherever.
Yeah.
Like I've had people come in there and they're wearing. Actually, one lady in particular was wearing a shirt from France. She was wearing a Paris one. She was telling me about how cool it was because the one that she went to, it was like this small old brick building that was in the middle of France. I was like, that sounds really cool.
Yeah. What's going on with Glenday Harley? Like event wise, like you guys been doing a lot. You guys did the partnership. You guys have a new partner in Santa Clarita, Robert Patrick, right? Mm-hmm. You guys are signed, Robert Patrick from Terminator.
Yeah.
The cop that turns
Terminator
into liquid.
2.
Yeah. Have you seen him turn into liquid yet?
No, I've seen him come into the store a handful of times, but I have not seen him turn into liquid yet. I'll ask him next time he comes in.
Yeah, ask him, please. But you guys are making the dealership really nice. You guys got a convenient Starbucks right behind it. You guys put that new bar and shield on that back wall. Mm-hmm. Well, what else are you guys doing? Any events coming up?
Love Ride is coming back. Legendary Love Ride is coming back.
That's exciting.
Obviously, yeah. They
I was gonna ask you, and I was like, "What's the point?" He never even saw one, but it's coming back.
It's coming back. They've been making plans. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard for 2022. Obviously, the 2020 couldn't do anything. 2021, nobody knew what was happening. I mean, it was impossible to plan anything. But I can confirm that I've been told 2022 Love Ride will be back.
That's great news.
We do have our annual bike auction coming up here January 22nd.
I just saw a post about that. How does that work?
So it works
because people. I know you guys have an auction for the bikes that you guys have, but before I think some dealerships would, they would allow people to bring in their own bikes or something.
No, I mean all the bikes that we're auctioning off, they're
your
ours.
bikes. Okay.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna have bids starting on pretty much all the bikes. It's gonna run like a silent auction. So you go and you write your price, starting at the starting bid. You can write up from there, and you just keep track of it until hopefully you win it.
Yeah, we did that at Monterey County. We would have a weekend where we would have companies and private buyers buy anything, and with the money that you would get from it, we would use that to put a down payment to sell you a bike. So if you wanted to bring in a boat for sale, we would have people that buy boats. If you had somebody that buy cars, like for example, we would have a lot of car dealerships, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we'll buy cars." So they would go and say, "Okay, we'll give you $4,000 for your car," and the guy's like, "Can I get $4,500? Okay, $4,500, cool." They'd cut the check to the dealership sometimes, and then we would sell them a fucking bike and be like, "Oh, it went to your down payment." Like it was crazy because we just wanted to help and motivate people to do that. So but that was a strange owner, business mentality. Some guys from Texas. It was it was a good idea. I thought it was a good idea.
It's like, hey, if we can make money, we can make money.
Yeah.
No, that's I've never heard of that.
If we can help you sell your vehicle and get you into a bike, why not? So some people would make like $5,000. They'd put $2,000 into their bike and have $3,000 for motor clothes. So. And it was once a year. It was a kind of a complicated operation, but not really. Like I said, all you had to do was get a couple used car lots, hey, do fair pricing and, make it make sense. But, a guy traded in a boat, cars, bikes, people from the public would be able to buy stuff, from other people. It was interesting.
That is. I was going to say, I wonder how that would work. I mean, paperwork wise, obviously it could get a little, sticky.
No, you have an office. Each dealership had their own, people doing their 262 forms and their transfer and release and, et cetera. So, no, it was pretty organized.
Oh, okay.
It was just actually doing the event and kind of promoting the event. So it was beneficial for everybody.
Well, that's awesome then.
Yeah. Any big travels? What's the longest ride you've done?
Longest ride I've done... I don't like riding long distance.
No,
probably the longest ride I've ever been up to is probably to Santa Clarita, but I'm not a big fan on the long distance riding.
Yeah.
No, I'm more about urban commuting personally. But I mean, I love to go out on your rides like through Angeles Crest or Neptune's Net, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, the California, the Los Angeles typical thing. I have this thing where I love to split lanes. No, like you don't understand. Like I love to split lanes. Like the back of my BMW is like fucking this wide. I've said this many times on the podcast. I've said it many times to people. I will split lanes and beat anybody, just about anybody. I'm very confident I will kick your ass. But when it comes to straightaways, like if it's just straight and there's no cars and I can speed as fast as I want, I don't like doing that. It's so weird. No,
it's like a game to you.
Oh, it's a fucking I'm like it's a game to me. It's a technical game that I love. It's a game to me.
So what's the highest speed that you'll split at?
70, 80.
Damn.
70, 80 on the BMW.
Damn.
On the street light, I'm a little bit lower on that.
I feel pathetic because like the highest I'll do splitting lanes is like 30 miles per hour.
Nobody I've ever rode with can keep up with me. I literally will tune it down like 70%. No exaggeration. No, and I don't care what they'll be on a streak light. I'm sorry, they'll be like on a Dyna, a Sportster, whatever the case is. You're not keeping up with me. Nobody I've ever ridden with. There's actually one time this guy in a Dyna was flying, but this was in San Francisco, and he was flying. We were going from San Francisco to San Jose. And this guy just passed me like, and my bags did limit me a little bit. I was like, oh shit, like this fucking guy. But any other bike in LA, I've never seen it.
I would say for me, it depends on what streets I am, like what freeway. Like
I
there's
don't
some
care.
parts of the 5 where it feels too narrow to me.
I'll do it all day, all day, like no fucking problem. And then the BMW, I get a little crazier because when I'm going through downtown and like Huntington Park, you know, I got a couple friends that have businesses out there. There's just so many trucks, you know, like semi trucks there because that's just an industrial center. I go on the sidewalk, train track, like it's so fucking crazy. I'll pass by a cop and the cop's stuck in traffic. I'm like,
what do you do? Catch me?
It's impossible. Like, you know, like it's crazy, but it's experience. It's experience. But yeah, I would consider myself a technical writer. You know, I was having this conversation with my friend Mark. He's like, yeah, you're a technical writer, and I'm all about that. Even one time I was in Angeles Crest, and you know, I was writing with these other guys, and then these other guys were joining the other guys, and I'm ripping through, and this one guy was on my ass, and I really believe that guy actually could have passed me up, but he didn't because he kind of like we're friends of the friends, so I'm just gonna do whatever you do. So I was ripping it, and he was ripping it on a road glide, and I was like, dude, this guy can take me. And actually later he's like, I was gonna pass you up, but I thought you were like the lead of the pack, so I didn't want to pass you up. And I was like, and he was on me, like he was on, like it was me, then it was him on my ass, and then nobody for like a minute or two. Anyways, once we got to the straightaway on the 2, I don't care to speed, I don't care. So I just let off the gas, and all of a sudden he was like. And I'm like, all right, go ahead, I don't give a fuck. Then a couple times I've seen people get pulled over because that's where the cops are at. But I don't care. I don't. When it comes to straightaways, I don't want to speed just to speed.
That's too easy.
It's too easy. I don't care for it. You know. Another thing that I'm not good at is obviously stunts. I've never tried to do any stunts because I like my bikes. I don't want to drop my bikes. You know.
Yeah, no. I mean, I see these guys all the time, like on these $25,000 lowrider S's. You know, I wouldn't mind, you know, doing some wheelies or whatever stunts of any kind. I wouldn't want to do it on an expensive bike.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, like if I was on a dirt bike, I mean, all day, sure, why not? I mean, just replace the body parts easily. But yeah, on a big Harley, no.
What was your first motorcycle?
It was a Kawasaki KLX 140.
140, what year?
I don't even remember.
Yeah. Like an 80s or something, like an older bike or some shit?
It was an older bike.
Yeah. And how'd you get into bikes exactly? Family or friends?
My stepdad, actually, he grew up riding motocross all through, you know, middle school and high school. And, you know, later on, I mean, I was just like, I just want to learn to ride.
Yeah.
Because I didn't grow up doing it in like middle school and high school, but I just wanted to learn how to ride. And so I mean, that's how I learned, and I was doing it off road, and I loved it. You know, it was like something that had just been calling for me.
That's awesome. You're very good and amazing at your job at Harley Davidson in Glendale. And, you know, again, I've learned a lot from you, and you've showed me some amazing products that I want to come back and pick up. But
I'll hold you to that.
Yeah, I know. Please do. But before we started the podcast, you were talking about you have passion projects that you started doing films and directing, and that you like scary movies, and now you want to do scary movies, and
yeah,
you might have something.
Yeah, no, I actually have a background in acting. I studied acting in college. And
an actor in Los Angeles? What?
And, you know, I moved out here, and I realized that acting wasn't as big of a passion of mine as storytelling. And I love the horror genre, and so I fell into that. I have a couple projects that I'm working through right now. But yeah, I mean, actor in Los Angeles, what? That's crazy.
That's so crazy.
No,
but now you're shooting, you're filming, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
You have all the equipment? I'm
working on a lot of writing right now. I'm actually working to get a hold of a couple more dollars for a film that I want to make. I already have X amount. I'm trying to get a couple more thousand. Not a couple more dollars.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Are you doing like a FundMe page or like a creative FundMe page or something like that?
No, I am waiting to see if I can get the money on my own. I don't know. For me, it's a pride thing. It's like I did this
take
on
the
my
pride
own.
away, bro. Take the pride away. No, take the pride away. Seriously.
No, I understand.
Putting the
that.
money together and having people partake. It was one of the first things I picked up at Pepperdine. Like one of the first things I learned was people want to help. People want to help. You struggle. Like a lot of this I put by myself, and I'm proud. I've funded myself, and I've done this myself, and I'm doing it myself. But there are people that are like, hey man, I would have gave you a hand a long time ago. Did you need help with this? Did you need help with that? Like don't let pride, like fuck pride, seriously. That's kind of stubborn. If somebody can fund you or get you even extra funding, that's rewarding too, because then people believe in you. Yeah, you're gonna have some people looking for expectations, but then that also keeps you on your toes. So don't be like, I funded it, I did this. No, nobody cares. They just want to hear the story and they want to see the work.
And you're right. I can't deny that. I mean, you do have a very good point.
I've been around. I've been around.
But yeah, I'm trying to get these projects put together. I have one that potentially will be filming out in New Hampshire. So that's actually really cool to me, filming on location.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. I mean, because I love my storytelling, and I'm excited for this because it's a huge step. And I've learned that being out here, you have to count your successes. You have to very much be happy about them and take pride in them.
Yeah.
Because there's so many other people that come out to LA and they don't have these successes. They don't have the chances that everyone comes by.
Yeah, and people limit themselves. I was watching one of those TikToks, and I think it was, I want to say it's Denzel Washington. And lately I've been liking a lot of Denzel Washington's fucking, speeches.
He's fucking amazing actor.
He's an amazing actor, but his speeches are fucking insane. And he had this one speech that he was giving out to a university, and he says, imagine you're in your bed dying. You're 60, 70 years old. And the ghost, your creative writing ghost is right in front of you, and your wannabe passionate actor ghost is right in front of you, and the movie and the book and the motorcycle you wanted to ride and the travel trip you wanted to do and the things you wanted to say are all standing by you, and they're saying, hey, you were in charge to represent us, and you didn't, and now we're gonna die here in this bed because of you. Nobody will ever get to know us. Obviously he said it more creative, but it was chilling. It was like it was really chilling.
That's chilling.
And it's like you represent, all these characters inside of you, and you are responsible to bring them out. And if you don't, you're killing your ghost or your whatever you want to. I'll look it up and post it up, but it was very strong. It was very strong.
That's haunting.
Oh, it's
Talk
very
about horror. That's
exactly. There you go.
There we go.
There you go. That's another fucking way if you can put that into. Mm-hmm. Another one that's kind of like that. It's not as haunting, but it is. Actually, in a sense, it's even more haunting. But Eddie Murphy had something like that where he says, when he was filming the new Coming to America, he made a little skit where he goes, let's say you live 100 years, 0 to 100. That's 100 summers that you get. So you only get 100 summers, I only get 100 summers. That's if we live 100. The first 15 to 20 don't really count because you're a kid, so you can't really take advantage of it. And the last 20 to 40 don't count because you can't really do much. Now, take away how old you are. That means you only realistically, we got about maybe 20 summers, 30 summers to really explore and live left in this life. And again, he says it more faster and easier, but that's the fucking point,
This just got deep.
God damn. What the fuck? So buy your safety gear and live your summers? I don't know.
Exactly. Ride every summer. It's riding season.
Where can we find you? Where can we find you on your social media? Or do you want to share that? It's up to you.
I don't have social media because we're talking about living and doing
so
all
crazy.
that. And during the pandemic, the presidential election and all that stuff was going on. I was like, I'm tired of hearing about this. We're living it day to day.
Yeah.
I don't want to be reminded of it when I'm sitting on the couch in the shelter of my own home.
I'm gonna tell you that's an excellent point that you brought up. One thing, if there's one thing I notice when I travel to other countries, is as soon as I leave America, there's no news. You don't hear no news. There's nothing. You know, I've been to countries for 3, 4, 5 weeks. You know, 2 weeks, 5 days, 6 days. During that time, there is no fucking news. Like, it doesn't even exist. I don't even register. There's no news until I land in LAX and my phone connects, and it's just like boom, boom, and Biden did this, and Trump did
Blowing
this,
up
and this,
CNN,
that,
Fox
CNN.
News.
Oh, and then Moderna. They're like, legitimately, there's no fucking news in other countries unless if you turn on the TV and watch the news. But there is nothing harassing your phone and chasing you and saying bing, 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 bing. That is very. Mm-hmm. That's scarier than the other shit.
Yeah,
like it's fucking insane.
Yeah, like I said, it was just, to me, it was such a relief. It was like, you know, taking off this whole blanket, just taking it off of me and just being able to feel the breeze and breathe.
Yeah.
Just actually living day to day, like you were saying. We only have those 20 summers or so.
Yeah. Fuck it, 25. Let's just say we have 25.
25.
At full throttle.
25 and a half.
20. Fuck. I was going to ask you something about... Oh, I want to pitch you an idea that I had for Ride Clean, because I wanted to do this, and I haven't done this, but I want to see your thoughts since you're doing storytelling. So I want to do a little ad for Ride Clean. This is how I visualize it. It's this super hot, attractive girl on the side of the road. Fuck it, let's say it's a desert, okay? And this dude comes out on a motorcycle, shirtless, fuck it, 6-pack, ripped, cut, fucking blonde hair, blue eyes, whatever the case is, just fucking a good-looking dude. But his motorcycle's dirty. So he pulls up to the girl and says, "Need a ride?" And she looks at the bike and she goes, "Not from you, not from your dirty bike." And he leaves. And then another bike pulls up later, 5 minutes later, you know, a little sign, 5 minutes, whatever. And it's this fat dude, hairy, just gross, disgusting, whatever. Not disgusting, just not as handsome. A normal guy. I'm not trying to, you know, a normal guy comes, you know, with the gut and, you know, whatever. But his bike's clean by Ride Clean. Says, "Do you want to ride?" She goes, "Yeah, you ride clean." Scene.
There it is. It definitely has a comedic appeal to it.
Good. And yeah, that's what I want. I want it to be very comedic.
No, I like it. It's cute. It's short. It's easy to film, quick to the point. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I gotta execute that one. Any other safety advices you want to throw out, and tips or tricks for people?
You know, like I said, just never be afraid to invest in that helmet, just because, I mean, we were talking about that earlier about the price differences.
Do you guys do a layaway program?
We do offer a firm now at our dealership, actually.
What do you mean? Oh, a firm?
A firm, yeah. So you can actually pay for it in installments. Cool. But I was going to say, I mean, whenever it comes to buying those helmets, don't think of it as like a hefty chunk for just that moment, because you're investing in something that's potentially going to last you a couple years.
Yeah.
It's going to last you a few years. So think of it as like I said, that $100 per year.
I do like that. And after 7 years, it's paid off.
Exactly. After 7
and
years.
The more you ride, the more benefit.
And God forbid you ever actually have to use it. You're not going to say, "Damn it, I shouldn't have spent that extra $400 on a helmet."
Yeah. Another question that I want to ask for myself: what's a good solution that when I'm riding somewhere, when I get to my destination, keeping my helmet safe?
There are a couple different options, actually. I actually have a helmet lock that's attached to my crash bars. So that's one thing, because if you cut the straps off the helmet, if someone steals the helmet, they cut the straps off, that helmet's useless.
Right.
You can't reattach the straps.
Right.
But there are a lot of backpacks now that do come with like little canopies that you can put your helmet in and carry it with your backpack.
Interesting. Interesting. Or a little travel bag or something like that.
They have little travel bags. Mine has a little sling that I can
That'd
actually.
be cool, like a bowling ball case. For like if there was like a brand focused on.
They do.
Yeah?
Yeah, they have them.
Because my Fxrg old helmet, I actually still have that one. It came with the bag.
Yeah,
badass bag.
Yeah, those little sling bags. But they do have like actual like tote bags that zip up that you can put your helmet in.
That's cool. That's another good solution. Cool. Tommy, any last words?
Ride safe, ride
clean.
boundless.
And ride clean. Thank you, Tommy.
Thank you, sir.
And that's a wrap.
Ooh.
How'd you feel about that?
Good time. It was fun.
Wow.